So I didn't get to finish reading my journal entry number 144, and so that's what I'm going to do right now. And so, according to First Chronicles 12, verse 32, King James Version, if you want to hear what I said before that, then you can watch my last video that's already posted. And because when I do this, my videos lag, I'm going to remove myself from this video. According to First Chronicles 12, verse 32, King James Version, the men of Issachar were described as having understanding of the times and knowledge. Now let's put our thinking caps on. Please answer me this. Guess who most Mexicans are related to? Who had a calendar system? Whose calendars were based on astronomical observations, including the stars, sun, and moon, whose complex systems of interlocking calendars were used for both practical purposes like agriculture and sacred purposes like rituals and divination, which is a no-no, but hey, shit happens. Who are the Maya and Aztecs ancestors? I'll give you the answer. Issachar. Modern Mexicans are related to the Aztecs and Mayans, as many are descendants of these and other indigenous groups alongside Spanish due to mixing via slavery and African, quote unquote, Hebrew, in parentheses, ancestry, forming diverse heritages like the mestizo, with strong indigenous roots in central Mexico, Aztec slash Maya, Mexica, and southern Yucatan regions, Maya. Ask the Olmec, black folk, and don't act like you didn't see those lips and nose. The Olmec people were an ancient Mesoamerican civilization that flourished in the tropical lowlands of Mexico from roughly 1500 to 300 BCE. This is stuff that I have been teaching for years and was called a conspiracy theorist. I was told that I was crazy, but now I get to see others who said I was wrong teach the same things, sometimes saying what I said word for word. I remember being called a Facebook preacher, but today I see so many online services. The topics that I speak on and the rawness of the way that I speak about things are too real, which is why I am shadow banned on every platform. It does piss me off, but what can I do but keep my receipts? I know people have seen my work, and even though they can copy my work, they can't copy my authenticity. They can't covet my gift. A full circle moment is one day I was scrolling on Facebook and came across two white guys doing a podcast talking about rappers who sold their soul for fame and money. I said to myself, they will shit bricks when they, right along with their ancestors, have to pay for the sins of their ancestors who constructed those rituals under Satan to stay in ruling power over the Most High's chosen people, Negroes, Natives, and Latinos, whom they exploited. Corporations and Esau, white people, overall killed America. They want to control everything and everyone. They are so insecure and worried about the uprise of black people, an uprise that they can't control, stop, nor spin the narrative. The people who run these corporations are dummies. How much do you think you can squeeze out of people before they snap and say enough? Well, we are all about to find out very soon. Think about it. Should a corporation really have the right to fire you over something that you post on social media when you not even at work on the clock? And no, this has not happened to me. I'm just speaking on what I see to be a problem. If you say yes, then you have already been overtaken. We have gotten to a point where we only understand something once the situation hits our doorstep. When I am off the clock, I do not represent the company that I work for. Now, I do understand that even if I'm off the clock, but I have on my work uniform, if the job provides one, I can be held responsible by my job because I am wearing a uniform with the company label. Also, I understand if I break the law, then I could be held responsible for my job. But baby, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if I am out at Walmart on my day off, dressed in my regular clothes, and a Karen comes for me to the point where I have to cuss his or her ass out and a video of it goes viral, or when stuff like CK's assassination happens, I don't think it's right for people to lose their job over their opinions or facts. See, I don't believe in censorship or cancel culture because I am a warrior with my words. If a person is not breaking the law, it's simply mind your business. A corporation that I work for cannot tell me how to live my life while off of their time clock. If so, they need to pay me and you 24/7. These corporations want to control us in every way. You can't even think about something without seeing what you thought of in some random ad on social media. I said, maybe I'll have Chipotle for lunch. As soon as I get on Facebook or Instagram, I see all kinds of ads for Chipotle. It's an invasion of privacy brought forth by these corporations. I have told you what's coming to this country. Say goodbye to sovereignty. Islamic Chinese entrapment equals ICE. Sleeper cells, invasion, and part two of 9/11. While dumb Americans are distracted by NBA and the NFL. America's national security has been compromised. Welcome to the sandbox where all the other kids gang up and take down the bully. And I just want to go on and say that I just find it absurd how other people come from other countries, where there's war, corruption, and they want to come over here to what is quote unquote the free world, quote unquote, and turn it into what they want. And it's like, no, you need to do that where you came from. And that includes white folk too. White folk do, they forget, like, you did not purchase this land. You did not acquire this land. You did not acquire this land the right way. You stole this land. And it's like, that's my biggest problem with white folks. Like this guy who I'm going to play. My biggest problem is they call it they're talking about their white guilt and they're not gonna stay silent no more. No, I don't want you to stay silent because I got something to say to you. A few things. That white guilt you feel, or that feeling that you feel, then you want to label it as black fatigue. No, that's your shame. That is your shame for the atrocities that you have committed, going from land to land, ruling by the sword like it was prophesied, like your ancestor Esau was said to do. And so then they come with this whole deflection, like this man on this video that I'm going to play. These people are deflectors and major boasters, you know, and they don't even recognize that You were used as a spiritual belt against your brother, Jacob. See, because white people they don't know, they don't recognize that either. And I mean, I guess I could do a little bit better, job of telling white folk, like, you are Semitic. Those Ashkenazi people, Nazi people, are not Semitic. They come from Japheth. Caucasians do come from Jacob. They come from Esau. Esau was Semitic. Yes, he made it with the Nephilim people, and that's how he lost all of his melanin. And that's why he all red. But he was born like that. But it got even worse when he made it with them Horites. Okay, and so, um, but they are Semitic. That's why black people and white people cannot get along. Neither side, neither side wants to hear it. Neither side. Not only black people don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear that they the Israelites, and that yes, you are a blessed royal people, but you also gave well, not you, not us now, like not me now sitting in this chair, no, but my ancestor was out there the day when Christ was on that platform, and they said, "Give us Barabbas." I believe one of my ancestors was out there, and they were influenced by those imposter Jewish people who was in the audience that day, because they were going back and forth with Christ, because Christ was black, he was the real Jew, and those imposters had been placed in the land back in 2 Kings 17, verse 24. That was around 720 BC. That was around that time period. 2 Kings 17 and 14. 17, verse 24. When they were those Sepharvaim, because Sepharvaim come from Esau as well. They are Semitic. They come from Esau. And so the Caucasian and the Sepharvaim, they are the same people. They both come from Esau. But those Ashkenazis, they are not. But anyway, black people don't want to accept the fact that they are the Israelite. They are God's chosen people. Christ is black, and our ancestors gave the command for Christ to be crucified. We agree with it. We said, "Give us Barabbas." And we do that today with certain family members in our own family who is different, who ain't gonna be sitting at the table drinking, which is a generational curse, and playing spades and stuff like that, No, these is most the nerds of the family, or the people who just different. I know, because I was a different. So I know, you ain't gonna be down family full of boosters, full of thieves, but one comes along and they want something different. They want to go to school. They want to go to college. They don't want to be generational thieves. Oh, that's a problem. He think he better than us. And I'm not saying that my family are thieves. I'm not you. That's not, no, no. My family is a piece of work, but they ain't thieves. So, black people don't want to hear it. Black people don't want to accept the fact that, who we are, and white people, they're so boastful, in their conquest of lands they have accumulated through their government. This is America's government is Esau's government, and that's another thing. Black people do not want to stop celebrating holidays. I said it on a few videos now. You cannot tell me that you are black power and you celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't care what you say. I don't care. You're supposed to give thanks every day. So it ain't about giving thanks. That's just what you say. That's what you tell yourself to soothe yourself. But the reality is you are celebrating your ancestors' demise. They literally, the same government of today, literally kicked the heads of people that look like me and other black and native people around in the same streets that we are still being unalived in, unarmed today. The more you keep celebrating that your ancestors' demise, the more our people are going to keep getting slain in the street. And I keep saying, you so spiritual, you see everything else, but you can't see this. Oh, you saw Portia and her lesbian relationship. Oh, you saw that. Oh, you knew Candy and Ty wasn't gonna make it from the dough. But somehow you can't see this. You are the children of Israel. You need to read those curses. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68. It's easy to see who that's talking about. Talking about your black ass. Mine's too. But and white folks, you know, they just can't. And a lot of white people been lied to as well. Just like when I play this man's video, the way that they boast about lies. But I'll get to it. But 9/11 ain't over. And I know everybody done seen that Denver lady. It ain't over. Because the people who was in bed with those Saudis are still in bed with them. The one who don't like black people. Remember when that was said during Hurricane Katrina? A certain president don't like black people. Well, this same president was involved with those Saudis. And that's how 9/11 happened. And they've been continuing it with this Islam stuff. But I told you what's coming to the church. I pray that we all will be ready for what's to come before his return. I would definitely get out of Texas, especially Houston. Houston would be hit like New Orleans, Katrina, but it would be much worse. There's so much that I could and need to say, but for now, I will hold off. LA, San Francisco, Miami, NYC, New Orleans will vanish via the water. Houston will go back to being swampy marshlands. Phoenix, Vegas, and Death Valley will be uninhabitable due to the heat. That area will go back to being a desert. The water will run out, and Cali will be uninhabitable. A lot of people will perish because they are too dumb to take heed, but they will try to leave at the last minute. When it happens, they will look to place blame on others, but the signs were there. Like I said, I did my best and did a heaven of a job too to warn people, but my people got too caught up in the messenger. I was your last chance. Okay, so this is the video that I'm talking about, and I'm going to respond to a few things that this guy has said in his video. So,
all right, this might hurt some feelings, but whatever. I was just scrolling through my feed and I saw a couple of posts about how white people have no culture. And I'm just over this white guilt, white shame type stuff. I'm not advocating for white supremacy. I'm just advocating the end of white silence and the end of white guilt and the end of white shame, because
when have you ever been silent? That's my first question to you. When have you ever been silent? You've created laws that have spoke volumes, and that dump that you have in office right now says a lot of things. You know, I'm not against him. I'm not against him on this Somalian thing. I'm just being honest. I'm not. Um, but it's kind of an audacity for him, and this is the boasting that I'm talking about with your people. It's so crazy how you can sit up here and boast and saying how, oh, their country isn't anything, it's crappy, it's this, but you have no country because you come from caves and you've invaded everything. That's your culture. You know what? I'm going to show you your culture.
Show you guys some of the documents showing the white races of Europe, and we can get a better perspective as to who the Moors were fighting. These are the albinos and the beasts of Europe. And the Moors were fighting these people
Look like him.
for hundreds of years prior to the so-called transatlantic slave trade. And one interesting thing I wanted to show you is that when you look at these beasts and albinos and how they have achieved what they've been able to achieve in just a few hundred years, keeping in mind that they were considered wild men just a few hundred years ago, and they had no last names. Many of them didn't even have first names. And I wanted to show you this because I found this very interesting. If you see here the wild men, and you look at the clothing that the people are wearing to the left, you can see here they're wearing this clothing to cover up their hairy bodies. So I found that very interesting. And something else I found in the British Library was one of the oldest genealogy charts, one of the first ones made for white people. And as you can see at the bottom of that genealogy chart, you see two wild men. So they're showing that their ancestry comes from the caveman. So that should give you something to think about, considering that just a few hundred years later, today, we have people like the Queen of England who claim to be of the royal bloodline of Egyptians and Cushites who ruled the earth. They even found the remains of a boy who was buried at Stonehenge in Europe. He was buried in Europe, but he actually came from the Mediterranean Sea in Africa.
So yes, sir, that's your culture. And then you need to read Genesis 25. And then that chapter, and then you need to read Genesis 27. Sir, I'm going to tell you like this. When have you ever been silent, man? Like, your people are still hanging black people today. Still in the South. There are still sundown towns all over this country, man. When have your people ever been silent? Oh, did you forget about January 6th? What a lot of people that look like you did to the Capitol, to the country, to the thing that you claim to love so much. You've never been silent. That's why we tell you to shut up. Because you've never been silent. You're on your way out of here. It's over for you. Your kingdom is soon to come to an end. That white, that feeling that you feel where you want to feel like you don't want to stay silent, and you're tired of being shamed, and that starts on the inside. The reason why you feel like that is because God is getting ready to judge your people. See, everybody has had their turn in the fire, but y'all. But y'all. And y'all have done the most heinous things out of everyone. See, because what you have to understand is, yes, see how you look at this as, oh no, this country. No, see, I look at this as worldwide. Somewhere down the line, you probably related to Hitler. Who knows? When you look at it, your people is still not being silent because your people do the mass walk up into church, fellowship with the people, and then pull out and do them all in. That's not back in 19 or 18 such and such. No, that was just a few years ago. What was his name? Kyle Rittenhouse? What? That was just a few years ago. Now, if we want to go back into the 19s, your people bomb churches. This is what your people do, man. And then you want to sit up here and what you're doing right now with this whole, well, we didn't invent slavery. I mean, we haven't done anything. You're deflecting. You're deflecting. Because what you're doing, what I say all the time about the majority of your people. You can't take accountability for nothing. You can't take accountability for your actions. And you don't want to hear it. But yet you want to promote this, oh, it's about fairness and democracy and everything else. It's a pile of shit. And it's all about to come crumbling down in your faces. And guess what? It was brought by a motherfucker that looked just like you. That's in the White House. He's doing a lovely job with your people. The farmers, the truckers.
Our culture participated in nothing that your culture hadn't participated in previously. We didn't start slavery, but we damn sure ended.
See, right there. There goes your arrogance. We didn't start slavery, but we don't end it. No, you didn't end it, doofus. And then while you're talking, and see, to my black people, this is why it's important to learn your history outside of the Real Housewives and the NBA and the NFL, all that crap that you like to get caught up in. This is why it's kind of important to know your history. Mississippi didn't ratify the amendment for slavery to be abolished. I think it wasn't until 2013. I've done a video on this already. Here you go. Here you go. And I've also shared videos of how there was this video on Vice of a slave family that was well into the 1960s. They didn't even know slavery was over because they were still on the plantations. But see, you're so arrogant, and that is why your people is going to have the hardest downfall. It's going to be so hard for your people because of your arrogance on the things that you say when you are just foolish. On my last video, I'm just going to read it again on this video. Now here comes the victim bullshit, which is why I don't have female friends. Been there, done that. You want to protect your kids from Toy Story, but what about the epidemic of young black girls and boys that are missing? Crickets. Won't be no sound effects this video. Now, these kids a lot of these kids are being sold and, well, yeah, sold into child, you know the word, slavery. That's still going on. That's within this country. See, because I'm from a city, sir. I'm from a city that was either number one or two in child trafficking. Okay? They have whole operations and stings. So this is still going on here. And you know who are at the top? Men that look like you in this video. I believe from the FBI statistics that y'all lead in that act, being a Hester Chester. So yeah, at the top, it's men that look like you. So slavery is very still going on, and once you and then on my previous videos, I've also talked about the way that your people have taken over the music industry because you are the same as those imposters, and you had a meeting with the music executives to target black men via rap music. See, because you look like, you don't really like, although I can't even say that no more because a lot of y'all sit up here and talk this stuff, but then you be like CK, listening to Jay-Z and Kanye in the background, knowing the words to R. Kelly and Ignition, but yet you want to get up here and talk all this stuff about black people. So, a lot of y'all be hypocrites like that. But your people has targeted black people to funnel them into a private prison system. I've talked about this on a previous video. And I'm going to, I probably ain't going to have time, but in 2018, the FBI's National Crime Information Center, NCIC, reported that while black children made up 14% of the child population, they accounted for approximately 37% of the 424,066 missing children under 18. That is your slavery, sir. Right there. I know you heard about the white vans. Hey, and it's white kids missing too. It's Asian kids missing too. What you think they doing with them? All of them ain't cleaning. I'm sure you've heard about the girls that's down in the basement with the chains on their ankle. They chained to a wall. You pay money and that's going on right here in this country, sir. So stop your arrogance. Okay? Cuz once you come up with the stop and frisk and all the dirty tactics that your people have came up with on the police force, once you become property of the state, you are a slave. So stop it. A 2010 study found that black children were significantly underrepresented in TV news, even though about a third of all missing children in the FBI's database were black. They only made up about 20% of the missing children cases covered in the news. See, your racism has never stopped. Y'all just find new ways to hide it. A 2015 study was bleaker. Though black children accounted for about 35% of missing children cases in FBI's database, they amounted to only 7% of media references. If it's about protecting kids, then why are so many of your kids missing? If you're so interested in protecting these kids, in which we should be, then why are we constantly seeing child after child being essayed by these wolves in sheep's clothing called apostoliars, wannabe bishops, passa freakums, deacon drunks, and these Catholic priests, whom a lot of them look like you. Then you go on to say that slavery still exists in African countries, which is, it does, but I'm not going to even go into this whole thing of how Negroes and the authentic Northern Eastern Africans that sold us are two different bloodlines. We two different people. We just look alike. But that's neither here nor there. But then you go on to say that the Vikings, oh yeah, because yeah. Then you go on to say that the Vikings figured out a way to circumnavigate the world. Sir, you're a loser. Okay? The Vikings, this is when your people came along. By this time, sir, the black people who are the real Jews, because King Solomon was black and he had dreads, he had already had a naval fleet. We knew about this land, okay? The natives, who are the lost tribes of Israel, the northern kingdom, they came over to this land in 720 BC. So it's like, are you dumb? This is your arrogance and how delusional you are. This is this is why you need, if you don't do nothing else, you need to read the book of Obadiah in the Bible. Just read. It's only one chapter. Just read it. That's your downfall that's coming to you because you're so arrogant. So King Solomon was before your Viking people, brother. I'm sorry, you're not my brother, but King Solomon was before, and King Solomon is black. His dad was black. His dad was my complexion. King Solomon was dark. Yeah, the jig is up. We know all about the lies and everything, but let's get into some more of your lies.
The Vikings figured out how to circumnavigate the globe before the Islamic world ever figured out how to get their feet wet.
But it was your people that invented the Islamic State. Your people are the Romans. I've already done a video on Islam showing how the Roman Catholic Church, well, it didn't start with people who look like you, because the first 5 to 6 popes were black. I think it was the first 5 popes were black. Yeah, because the 6th Pope of Rome was white. That's when Rodrigo Borgia. When Rodrigo Borgia, the 6th Pope of Rome, came, he hired Leonardo da Vinci to paint Christ in the image of his son, Cesare Borgia, who is the same complexion as you. It's called iconoclasm. Black people ruled Europe during the Dark Ages. There's all kind of black kings and queens that I've been talking about. The people that sit on the throne in England right now are imposters. They come from the Wettin dynasty. They only got on the throne because of Oliver Cromwell. Your people are imposters. You do have a culture, and it's lying and stealing and cheating and deflecting.
It wasn't us that was going into Africa and pulling the slaves out. It was other Africans grabbing them and enslaving.
See how you try to deflect from your part in this? You want to make this, you want to make this all about, oh, well, no, it was just black people. We just benefited from it. No, you had your asses in those jungles. You had your asses on, looking for specific, your people traced the real Jews. This has been documented. I talk about all of this stuff for idiots like you. Your people traced down our people. We tracked down our people from when we fled from Israel into Africa. This happened in 70 AD. Okay? We knew that we were not authentic Africans because we don't come from Ham. We come from Shem. They knew we were different too, which is why they conspired with your people, the authentic Africans, conspired with your people. You gave them guns and ammo because that's what you're good at, building weapons. That's your culture. Anything that's dealing with like theft, stealing, deleting, essaying, that's your culture. I've already talked about how your people sought out specific tribes like the Igbo, the Ashanti. They sought out specific tribes to do experiments on them, as well as to capture them and put them into slavery. Your people knew who they were going after. They knew it. And the proof is about when you talked about the Vikings. Don't forget Christopher Columbus, that pedo, he used the Bible to get over to Hispaniola, the book of Esdras. It even says it in the little movie that I watched about it. So your people, man, are nothing but liars. You doing nothing but lying right now.
We invented democracy. We invented the constitutional republic.
That's a lie. It's documented that the Iroquois was brought in and the Constitution was drafted. They got all of their ideas from the natives. They were the early fathers of America were so impressed.
Peace influenced American democracy. Concepts like consensus, checks and balances, and separation of powers, which were part of their system, resonated with the founding fathers and were included in the U.S. Constitution.
Nothing about your people is original. So that's what we saying. Nothing is about your people is original. You have no culture but stealing, deleting, lying. You broke over 500 treaties. Gave my native people blankets with smallpox on it.
Public. The bubonic plague wiped out half of Europe, and what did we do? We got together and discovered Western medicine and inoculations and vaccines. I'm not saying that we're better than you, but we're damn sure not worse.
You are.
There are 4 major
Now, this is where he really showed his ass, right? That's where he really showed himself. Your horns came out on this one. You're nothing but a jealous, uninformed meathead. You could just tell. You must have took too many roids or something. I don't know. But let's read it and weep. Because if it wasn't for a black person who let's just read it right here. Yeah, let's look at Onesimus. Now, back in those times, smallpox was wiping y'all the hell out. Smallpox was wiping y'all out. Because, ever since y'all made it with those Horites, and the Horites were Nephilim people. You kind of became a genetic mutation. That's why you burn in the sun so quick. Because the sun don't even like you. The sun doesn't even like you nor agree with you. But if it wasn't for Onesimus, once again, the real chosen people saving your people's ass. Just like our native brothers and sisters who saved you. Your people wouldn't even be here today if it wasn't for the natives that got you through the first winter. When your people came to this land, you knew nothing. You knew nothing. You wouldn't have made it through the winter. And how did you repay them? By kicking their heads in the streets. That's how you repaid them. Ambushing them, inviting them for a feast, but then you turn around and massacre them. Make them lay down their weapons, and then you slaughter them. That's what your people have done. Same thing that's going over, with that 20-year war over there causing all kind of disturbance. And you can read this for yourself. Talking about some we weren't worse. We've never taken your people, sir, and made furniture out of you. You made furniture out of us. You used our skin for furniture. You used our teeth. You used our hair as stuffing to stuff in your cushions. We've never done that to your people. So I don't see how you are not worse. We didn't take your babies and take them and tie ropes around them and throw them into the swamps for the big bull alligators to chomp down on. We didn't do that to your people. We didn't do all kind of secret testing experiments in St. Louis. We didn't do that to your people. No, you did that to us. Meet Mr. Daniel Hale Williams, the first African American cardiologist. Lonnie Clinton Gordon developed a culture medium in the 1940s to grow the specific bacteria needed for a whooping cough vaccine. That was done by a black person, sir. So you want to take credit for everything. Oh, we came to the West and we discovered Western medicine. That's how dumb you are. The natives that was already here and the black folks that was already here, we used herbs. Stupid. We were in better health than you. Like, what? Are you crazy? You developed nothing, man. As a researcher at Harvard, William Hinton created a reliable, accurate, and rapid test for syphilis. Are you dumb? What medical advancements have black people made, from pacemakers and blood transfusions to neurosurgery on conjoined twins and open heart surgery? Speaking of that, back to Daniel Hale Williams, the first African American cardiologist who performed the first successful. I just want to be successful. Why? Because we are. Because we are. But see, you always there to steal the credit, to steal the research. The Limba had to put iron over their records that was etched in stone tablets so that when your people came over, they couldn't change the history because your people are known for that. Going to bury stuff and then digging it up. Oh, look what we found. This proves our existence. Just lies. The jig is up. You wouldn't even have open heart surgery if it wasn't for us. So dumbass out of here. Which brings me to a very beautiful African American, aka Hebrew from Judah, the real Jew, the chosen blessed people, Henrietta Lacks. This is what was so special about her. The only human cell line able to reproduce indefinitely. You want to know why? Because Christ, that bloodline, that's Judah. Christ is black. She's black. We're the real Jews. Have you ever seen white dirt? I ain't never seen white dirt. We are the original. That's why the only human cell line able to reproduce indefinitely came from a black woman, the mother of us all. Don't you ever forget that. Talking about what you came to the West and what you developed. No, what you stole. Because that enslaver who slaved Onesimus, he stole that. He stole that from Onesimus. Because Onesimus thought that devil was really going to give him freedom. Nah, they stole it from him. Because that's what y'all do best. Unlike other cancer cells, Henrietta's cells had the extraordinary ability to divide and multiply outside of the human body. And yes, her cells are still alive today. And see, your pharmaceutical companies who are ran by people that look like you, they played this lady and her family. Played her. But that's what y'all have always done. You're nothing but thieves, man. You come from the caves. Barbaric. That's why you do the things that you do. And then you got dumped talking about these light bulb head people talking about their country is war and torn, and which is he ain't lied. But it's like you come from the caves. Your ancestors come from the caves. Then you see the Geico commercials? That's your history. That's where you come from. Neanderthal. You used to walk on all fours. Yeah, so look at what this black woman, you talk about what you developed. No, this is what was developed. Her cells, they have survived and multiplied indefinitely in labs and have been crucial for major medical breakthroughs like the polio vaccine, the development of the COVID-19 vaccine, and the study of diseases like you. Because that's what you are, a disease, a cancer that has been going from land to land, plaguing everybody, beating on their chest. But Obadiah is your end. That's your end, and it's coming. Again, the Iroquois Confederacy governmental system, particularly the Great Law of Peace. Yes, it is likely that early American settlers, including the Pilgrims, would not have survived their first year without the help of the Wampanoag. They taught the settlers crucial skills like farming, fishing, and hunting. And the shared knowledge of the local environment, which was essential for the colonists' survival after their first winter left them with high mortality rates. Y'all ain't shit. This was really good. Maybe you need to watch this so you can learn a little bit more on your history and what y'all do to people.
Now, who the fuck is this bitch? And you're like, I can't believe all this going on. Let me, just why? Let me show you. This country, you consider that a fact? People.
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
How it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to dispossession of whites in the United States. Policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States.
And that's what you're afraid of. That's why you feel that white guilt and that white shame, is because you know what that man just said is soon to happen.
Policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive. Is that so strange? We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore. When my ancestors built this nation,
Or the destinies of others, right?
They did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Haitians or to anyone else.
Do you consider, you keep saying your ancestors built this country, you consider that a fact?
Who else built it?
Black people, Native Americans, Chinese people who came and built the railroads.
Do you think none of that could have been
Italian
achieved?
people.
But they're Europeans, aren't they?
How it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're...
That white bastard. But see, this is their arrogance. That white bastard. But see, this is their arrogance. This is their arrogance. You heard him when he said they don't control their own destiny. This is their arrogance. This is, and you see the stupidity that lies within that noggin. Who else built it? It certainly wasn't you. It certainly wasn't you, because you had to go get other people, because you could not go out into the sun. You can't survive in the sun. And if it was not been for the natives who fed you and taught you how to survive on this land, you would have ceased to exist. Manifest destiny crap. This ain't nothing but a bunch of crap. In the 19th century, manifest destiny was a widely held belief in the United States that its settlers were destined to expand across North America. There are three basic themes to manifest destiny: the special virtues of the American people and their institutions, the mission of the United States to redeem and remake the West in the image of our great Argarian America. I'm sorry, I butchered that. An irresistible destiny to accomplish this essential duty. They always speak sweet words to hide the carnage and the trail of tears they leave behind to get to their so-called manifest destiny. The image below will prove that their manifest destiny was and still is white supremacy, which is Jacob's trouble. Let me tell you what their sweet words really meant. Manifest destiny is their idea that it is their God given right to murder the entirety of the indigenous population on the continent so they could shine from sea to shining sea. They also figured since there was no gates put up, the land was theirs for the taking, even though there was people already living on the land. You won't believe the comments I see from Facebook posts on viral videos that speak of history or anything that brings up white folks' dirty past. This land wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for white people. But I just read that y'all wouldn't have even survived if it wasn't for the natives. That's how delusional these dummies are. There will be no land for you to do whatever on because you wouldn't have survived. Or my favorite, the natives were killing each other and taking each other's land. I guess this gave whites the right to come in and kill everyone and steal the whole land? Not. The problem is majority of white people boast and have no empathy for what their ancestors did. They also fail to realize the head start they received over everyone else, and this is why they will face the harshest judgment. They enact this manifest destiny way of thinking to this very day. Why else are they in Africa but not at war with Africa? Look at what happened to Iraq and Afghanistan. This type of behavior is Esau living by the sword as prophesied. There is a correlation between Roman Christianity and ruling the world.